from the beginning.
All right, joining me right now to discuss, Bill Carter, a CNN media analyst and author of the book, The War for Late Night. Bill, good to see you. All right, so the president threatening to end press briefings. Would that fix the messaging?
I doubt it. I also think it's, you know, he says a lot of things off the cuff and you don't know how serious he is. But I mean, you know, I think this president doesn't really think of himself as, you know, answerable to the people, but he is answerable to the people. It's the government of the people and by the people and for the people. He has to somehow give them access to what he's doing in his decision making.
He said that maybe he's moving just so fast and his communications department just can't keep up. Is it too fast or is it just too erratic?
It's very chaotic, and he also apparently doesn't trust the people around him. If you've read some of the reports today, he was afraid people as close to him as Steve Bannon might leak the firing of Comey before he got it out. So, you know, I think it's partly what's this chaotic situation he's got surrounding him, and which is, you know, kind of, you know, it's of his own making.
Mm-hmm. And when he's talking about Huckabee Sanders and Spicer, you know, he says, you know, she's very nice and he's a great human being. The New York Times, however, is reporting that Trump is actually considering dropping Sean Spicer, you know, in the shakeup of the communications team. But then who would be on deck?
Well, apparently he's interviewing producers from Fox News. I mean, that's another report that was out today. I think, you know, he can't like the fact that Spicer becomes the butt of jokes. He doesn't like that. I mean, you know, this whole thing about him being in the bushes giving a briefing, I think we'll see.
And then the SNL skits,
yeah, of course,
Donald Trump has said he didn't like that.
Of course, and I think tonight you're bound to see, with Melissa McCarthy hosting the show tonight, you're bound to see Spicer get really beaten up. He doesn't like that. He's very uncomfortable with that. I think he also just doesn't feel like Spicer's his guy. You know, he was Reince Priebus's guy, and he's clearly not been totally comfortable with him.
Okay, so you know, these communications problems, they really did hit home this week when the White House kept changing the story on why the president fired FBI Director James Comey. It didn't help that then the president himself came out with a completely different story than his communications team, but take a listen.
I was going to fire Comey. My decision. It was not...
You had made the decision before they came in the room.
I was going to fire Comey. I was going to fire regardless of recommendation.
So the president took strong and decisive leadership here to put the safety and security of the American people first by accepting the recommendation of the Deputy Attorney General to remove Director Comey.
So did the White House's assertion that Rod Rosenstein decided on his own, after being confirmed, to review Comey's performance?
Absolutely.
Isn't it true that the president had already decided to fire James Comey, and he asked the Justice Department to put together the rationale for that firing?
No.
So the communications team is only as good as, you know, the place in which the origin of the message. So is the problem in the messaging the communications team, or is the problem in the messaging the president?
Well, clearly they didn't get the information. It was sprung on them, so they had a very difficult time responding. And then he let it go for how much time? He even let the vice president, you know, go out there with false information again. Someone else was fired for that previously, for letting the vice president go out and lie. So I don't think it's very comfortable for the communications team when they don't have the information. So you have to feel a little bad for them, but also they're in that position then, and you know, they're spinning as hard as they can, and it's getting to be really awkward for everybody.
All right, Bill Carter, thank you so much.